Greetings, friends. This is Mark David here, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy. You are here with me in the Food Freedom Formula workshop, and this is all about discovering the 5 keys to healing your relationship with food. Now, let me just begin by saying, if you have an interest in food, nutrition, and health, or if you've been experiencing any kind of challenge when it comes to eating, body image, weight, really the good news is we're living in a pretty exciting time. And that's because we have so much information available to us, so many options, so many resources, so many experts eager to help. But also, as you know, my friends, the challenge is there's such an abundance of possibilities that many people are confused about what's the best choice for them. It's hard to know what to do, because there's so much out there. So bottom line, we're going to be changing all that. It's time to stop the fight. It's time to stop the ineffective dieting. It's time to stop the self-attack. Time to have the life that we came here to live. So today's conversation, today's workshop, Food Freedom Formula, really is all about you taking the next big leap forward in your life when it comes to food and body. My intention is that you're going to come away with some valuable tools and insights that you can actually use right away for your life. And I mean practical strategies that can make a difference. My intention is also to share about the cutting edge work that we do here at the Institute, so you can see if our offerings are the right choice for you. And indeed, I would love for you to do the best you can to stay to the end of this presentation, because we do have a special offer for you. You can also start using the chat in this conversation and just enter your name. In fact, if you'd like, tell us where you're tuning in from. And throughout the presentation, you can feel free to use the chat and ask questions. We're going to respond to you in real time, and we might save some of those questions for the very end and talk about it to everybody. So once again, thanks for being here, and I'm going to do my best to make this completely worth your while. So a good place to start is with the reality of things. You know, when addressing any complex challenge, it's a nice perspective to take the widest possible overview of where things are at, the big picture. So I would love for you to just consider some of the following, I'm going to say, sort of sobering and humbling statistics. Check it out. An estimated 108 million Americans are on a diet. 98% of those who diet gain the weight they lose within a year. They gain it back, and oftentimes then some. About over 2/3 of American adults are classified as being overweight or obese these days. 9 out of 10 women in the US are unhappy with their appearance. That's crazy. 81% of 10-year-old girls already experience a fear of being fat. I find that awful that that's how we're training our young women. Nearly 50% of girls aged 3 to 6 are already concerned about their weight. Health-wise, within about 10 years, 2/3 of the US population is going to have some form of diabetes. We are told by the US government that 75% of all diseases could be prevented with better nutrition. That same 3/4 of Americans report that they will live with ongoing digestive discomfort. And in any given week, at least half of adults are complaining about energy or fatigue challenges. And what I want to say is, when I see these statistics, my first thought is it doesn't have to be this way, plain and simple. There's a better way. And we need to put our attention on the fact that the eating problems that we are facing, you know, as individuals, they're really part of a bigger epidemic that's impacting so many more of us than most of us can imagine. And as far as I'm concerned, it's time to do something about it. It's time to break free. It's time that each one of us has a healthy, nourishing, empowering relationship with food and body. Easier said than done, but let's get it done. So honestly, that's the work that we do here at the Institute. And let me just say a few more words about me, us, the Institute, before I dive in more, just so you can understand where we are coming from. So for me, I have been a best-selling author in the field. I have over 35 years experience in clinical nutrition and eating psychology. I've been a consultant to many of the Fortune 500 companies in the food and health industries that you have heard about. I've been an expert and featured in just a ton of media outlets, print and television. I founded the Institute over a decade ago, and, really, I came into this world. I do what I do because I was driven. I came into this world sickly and asthmatic. I almost died a handful of times in infancy. And for some miracle, I asked my mom when I was 5 years old to change my diet because I heard a rumor that fruits and vegetables were good for you. I was of the generation raised on pure kind of nonsense food. And fascinatingly enough, with some changes in diet, my health changed. I started to see a huge difference, and I was off to the races. I became a nutrition fanatic. It eventually translated into my life as a professional. So I started coaching, counseling, teaching, educating myself as best as possible. And here's what I noticed. I noticed that no matter how much nutrition information I knew, and no matter how much nutrition information I was delivering to my clients, it was never truly enough to help them get where they wanted to go. Because, people can hear information, they know what they're supposed to do, but oftentimes they just don't do it. And when I started noticing that, I realized that nutrition information is good, but it's not enough to get us where we needed to go. I realized that I had to learn about the mind, i.e. the psychology of the eater, the heart and the soul of the eater. And that's what led me on a long journey to begin to really create and decode an eating psychology for everyone. That's what this body of work is about. Now, Emily Rosen is the director of the Institute. She cannot be on this workshop today, but I want to just brag about her for a minute and say a few words about her. So she's not only the director of the Institute, she manages all of our operations, our marketing, our outreach, and she has really the brilliant combination of all the business skills but more so really the heart to get this work out there. She has gone through, her own personal challenges around food, body, and health, and really broken through and come out the other side, and has really dedicated her life to getting the good word out there and helping others. So I am eternally appreciative for her efforts and her work to get the Institute's message out there. And indeed, the Institute, we are on a mission to really change the way the world understands food, body, and health. We're the only school in the world that's dedicated to an eating psychology for everyone. We use a blend of psychology and nutrition. We're a fully improved and regulated organization, approved by and regulated by the Department of Higher Education, Division of Private Occupational Schools. We reach a lot of people, really millions every week. So that's a little bit about us. Let us talk about, my friends, the 5 keys to forever transform your relationship with food. You've seen the challenge we're facing. You've heard a little bit about where I'm coming from, where we're coming from. We care about this issue. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is what lights me up. This is what gets me passionate. This is what gets me angry. This is what gets me wanting to do something. So this is us banding together, me and you, looking at what we can do to introduce some awareness, some consciousness, some skill, some breakthrough into the conversation. So 5 keys. Key number 1. I would love to explain to you why it's not your fault. One of the challenges that we face is that people are walking around, dealing with what seems like excess weight or body image challenges or overeating, emotionally, binge eating, endless dieting, or challenges like mood issues, low energy, digestion. And we're all thinking, oh my goodness, I can't control myself. I can't manage myself. I don't have willpower. This is all my fault. Something's wrong with me. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but when we operate from a place of deficiency, i.e. there's something wrong with me, we generally end up being attracted to strategies that are not so effective. They might sound sexy, but they don't necessarily work. So in one way, it's all about tapping into the hidden answers that are inside of us, because wow, have we been looking outside of us. And in part, that's the kind of work that we do here. The reality is that for all our eating and health concerns, solutions are within. And another way of saying that is whether you're dealing with emotional eating or binge eating or excess weight or body image challenges, all of these, check it out, my friends, all of these have a message for us. So instead of trying to control my emotional eating and suppress it, instead of trying to use force and willpower to stop our binge eating, instead of trying to starve ourselves or exercise our brains out, really the first move we have to make is to stop and listen. That's because our eating challenges are telling us where we need to grow and improve. They are here to talk to us. As an example, if you're dealing with a digestive challenge, your task is all about listening, because a digestive issue can point to poor nutrition. It can point to compromised gut microbiome. It can actually be the result of eating too fast. It could be the result of stress in your life. It could be the result of post-traumatic stress, meaning something intense happened in the past or even decades ago. A digestive issue might be related to past history of emotional abuse or physical abuse or sexual abuse. It could be a food allergy. It could be difficulty at work or in your romantic relationship. Why? Because a stress response, a physiologic stress, a digestive challenge. And if you go to a traditional practitioner, whether it's a nutritionist, a doctor, dietitian, they're trained to work usually within a narrow bandwidth to solve your eating challenges or health issues, when the reality is we need to be aware of the full spectrum of possibilities. So what I'm trying to say to you, my friends, is it ain't your fault. And we've often been misled by the media, by the popular culture that's busy telling us that it's our fault. Once again, our eating challenges are about growth. And if you've been taught to believe, or if you've been thinking it's your fault, you got to look in the mirror and slowly start to change that. So it's not about going on another punishing diet and attacking yourself. It's not about exercising your brains out or bloating your head with more facts or doing more self-attack. It's not about finding a magic bullet. Okay. So really, it's all about a false belief that we are trying to turn around here. So, my friends, we are having a technical difficulty that I am going to quickly try to solve right now. So if you just bear with me 1 second, as I'm trying to problem solve that, we are going to continue on. Now, I mentioned that our relationship with food is truly a great teacher. And I really mean that, my friends. Our relationship with food is a great teacher. Trying to go there? There we go. So one of the ways that we're turning around things is we're taking a bigger, broader, smarter perspective. So what does it mean? Our relationship with food is a great teacher. It means we're here to learn and grow. It means that every eating challenge we can possibly experience, every health concern that you and I have, it's here to teach us. And you know, you've been in school before. If you want to graduate, you want to get to the next level, you want to move on, you got to kind of learn your lessons to graduate. So the bottom line is, when a great teacher is talking, our job is to listen. Plain and simple. We got to listen. Now, what often happens is that we finally hear the message in our eating challenge, and things truly start to shift in a more natural way. Let me give you an example. You know, a weight challenge might be trying to teach us that we simply need to practice better nutrition. There's a lot of people who truly are carrying around excess weight because they need to understand how to nutrify their body better. Now, overeating might be trying to teach us that we need to slow down, because guess what? When we eat too fast, the brain doesn't register taste and pleasure and aroma and satisfaction. And when that happens, We are physiologically driven to eat more. So you see those brief distinctions right there. We're here to learn some important lessons. And again, there are so many different lessons that our eating challenges can be teaching us. Our job is to listen to our teacher. Our job is to get curious. Our job is to get inquisitive. And instead of looking in the mirror and saying, I'm terrible, I'm awful, what's wrong with me? We're looking in the mirror and saying, okay, I have this challenge with food and body, and this challenge is a great teacher, and I have to learn the lessons it's trying to teach me. So that means we have to start to do a little bit of sleuthing. It means we have to get curious. It means we have to start to notice. It means we have to start asking some interesting questions and learning some good strategies. And that, my friends, is what puts us on the road to finally graduate and to move on and to let go. Let's talk about key number 2. Key number 2, how to resolve your issues once and for all. You know, again, I want to say traditional approaches tend to attack the symptoms here, and we're learning how to master and understand our personal journey. We're not getting slides. Our slides are not showing up. Okay, so our efforts at problem solving, helping you see the slides, don't seem to be working. So right now, people are getting the audio. I really appreciate you hanging in there with me, friends, right now. Computers were supposed to make my life easier. Technology is supposed to make my life easier. Miss Angela, thank you so much for helping out here. What do you think?
Well, one possibility would be that you could just go to you chatting with them.
Yeah.
Pause the slides.
Pause the slides.
You are giving all the information. That's a possibility.
And just letting it be audio.
That's possible.
Okay.
And you're.
Okay. So my friends, here's what's going to do. I'm going to continue this conversation. We are not going to have the visuals, but I am going to do my best to make this interesting for you. And we'll see after this, after the workshop is over, we will, be able to connect you up and get you this recording with the slides.
And information.
Great.
Yeah.
So
I'll keep trying to get it.
Okay, great. So here we are learning to understand better how to master our personal journey. And what's happening is so many people are attacking their eating issues. Now, this is an important point. Okay, so this is you and I just kind of talking like the old days over the radio. So so many people attacking their eating issues, they're attacking their weight, they're attacking themselves, attacking with negative self-talk. And guess what? When you and I attack self, there's something very fascinating that happens. It puts us in a stress response. Why? Because the brain, your nervous system, your physiology, whenever it senses attack, it literally goes into fight or flight response. We completely change our biochemistry. So in that moment, you're going to be producing more insulin, more cortisol. These two hormones, by the way, when secreted in excess day in and day out, will signal the body to store weight, store fat, and not build muscle. By the way, the stress response also deregulates our appetite. So here we are, when we're speaking negatively to ourselves, we're literally changing our biochemistry. We're changing our appetite regulation mechanism. And then we don't understand why we can't help ourselves. We think we're a willpower weakling. And all that's happening is the negative self-talk. The brain is registering it as attack, even though it's technically self-attack. So what I'm trying to say is you and I and anyone else that you have ever met in your entire life can no longer go about the business of trying to transform your relationship with food with negative self-talk and negative attack. Just self-denigration, self-insult, being angry at yourself, hating on yourself in order to get yourself to change is illogical, and it doesn't work. Another way to think about that is this. We all want to have a better relationship with food. We all want to have a better body. Why? So I can be happy. How can we possibly be happy if the road we are taking to get to that happiness is filled with self-hate, self-attack, and no self-love whatsoever. It is logically impossible. Now, my friends, that's an important point. I don't want you to miss that. It's a huge point, and we're going to cycle back to that. You know, there's another piece here that's worth mentioning, and it's all about symbolic substitutes. And this is a key concept that we teach about here in the Institute, that we teach about not only in our professional training, but also in our program for anybody looking to make a big difference in their relationship with food, which is called Transform Your Relationship with Food. We talk about symbolic substitutes. And once you understand how your mind is actually trying to help you get what you need, you can actually learn more effective ways to get your needs met. So, symbolic substitute is simply this. It's a psychological term that essentially says that when we humans can't get the thing that we really want, you can't get love, when I can't get intimacy, when I can't get touch, when I don't have a meaningful relationship, or if I don't have purpose in my life and I'm not feeling good, when we can't get those deeper needs met, we will reach for the closest approximation, i.e., we reach for a symbolic substitute. And for many, many people, the easiest and best symbolic substitute is food. Why? Because food helps us feel better. Food helps us feel pleasure. Did you know that the simple act of eating, even if you're eating a food that your body considers neutral in terms of taste and pleasure, the simple act of eating will increase pleasure chemistry within less than 30 seconds. Immediately, food helps us feel good. It takes us out of our stress oftentimes. It takes us out of our suffering. And it can quickly put one into a relaxation response. It can quickly put one into pleasure chemistry. And in that moment, whoopee, I feel better. You know, think of it this way. Think of any infant you've ever seen. They're screaming, they're crying. And all of a sudden, you give them the bottle, you give them the breast, and in a moment, they relax and they're calm. And by the way, you and I have that cellular memory. And in that cellular memory, we know that food equals relaxation. Food equals love. Food equals home. So that lives in our cells, and that has lived within us for eons and eons of time. Eat food, feel better. So what I'm trying to say to you, my friends, is that if you or anybody that you know is turning to food to feel better, it makes perfect physiologic sense. It makes perfect genetic sense. It makes perfect emotional sense, because we are designed at the most primitive level to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Any human, when we're not feeling so good about ourselves, we need to get ourselves out of that painful moment. Food helps make that possible. So I'm wanting you to see how the strategies that we do, even though they're unwanted, my overeating, my binge eating, my emotional eating, there's a reason that lives underneath. So let's keep moving on. Here's another key number 3 of the 5 keys. And it's all about the surprising shift that can make all the difference here. I've already hinted about this, but I want to examine this just a little more, because it's one of the most powerful ways you can understand your eating challenge. And once again, it is actually all about stress and relaxation physiology. Here's what I mean. Stress and relaxation arguably are the most powerful drivers of nutritional health and the most powerful drivers of natural weight, natural appetite, and our relationship with food. Now, have you ever had the experience when you're anxious, you're upset, you're in a rush, and you ate a meal and it felt like, oh man, this food feels like it's sitting in my stomach, I have digestive upset? Well, actually what happens when we're under stress, again, we're in the classic physiologic stress response, also called sympathetic nervous system dominance. Everything I'm telling you, by the way, has a scientific basis if you look for it hard enough. So the stress response is actually a brilliant evolutionary adaptation that when the lion was chasing our distant ancestors, you know, we developed a mechanism such that our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, and all of our metabolic energy is rerouted into survival. Meaning blood is going to rush to your arms and legs for quick fighting or fleeing because you want to get away from that lion or you want to beat it up. Blood is going to rush to your head for quick thinking, because you better be quick thinking, because nature knows you only got a couple of minutes in a survival situation. Blood moves away from your digestive organs. Why? Because our digestive system requires a tremendous amount of blood flow and metabolic energy to digest a meal. And when you're being chased by a lion, you don't need to be digesting, your lunch. All your metabolic energy wants to go into survival. So, in a full-blown stress response, my friends, digestion is completely shut down. Appetite is deregulated, and stress hormones like insulin, cortisol, adrenaline increase. And by the way, when these hormones are secreted in excess, day in and day out, they will tend to, for most people, majority of people, they will tend to signal the body to store weight, store fat, and not build muscle. By the way, which is just what most everybody is trying not to do. So the point is, you could be eating the healthiest food in the universe, but if you're not under the optimum state of digestion, assimilation, calorie burning, and natural appetite regulation, which happens to be relaxation, then you will not be getting the full nutritional value from your meal. Indeed, you'll be excreting nutrients. And by the way, my friends, we have known the science of this since the 1930s with Dr. Hans Selye. This should be headline news for everyone. So the key takeaway here is this. You and I, we must put our body into the physiologic relaxation response, honestly, in order to heal any disease condition, any health symptom, and any eating challenge. Why? Because when it comes to a physiologic or metabolic issue, the body does its healing in the relaxation response. The relaxation response, my friends, and that term was coined by Herbert Benson, Dr. Herbert Benson, from Harvard Mind-Body Medicine Clinic. They since changed the name. Physiologic relaxation response is also known as parasympathetic nervous system dominance. Now, if the body is healing when it's relaxed, that means it's healing when you're sleeping. It's healing when you're resting or relaxing. It's healing when you're, in meditation. Think of it this way. Have you ever had a rough day at work and you're feeling really low energy and you're about to get sick? You don't say, oh my goodness, I'm about to get sick. Let me go out and run around like a crazy maniac. No, you say, hey, I'm going to lie down on the couch. Why? Because you and I instinctively know that the relaxation response is necessary to help generate healing. Super important, my friends. Now, let's go down the fascinating territory or rabbit hole of stress just a little bit more. There's something I want to talk about called self-created stressors. Self-created stressors are the kinds of stresses that, there's certain stressors in life that you and I can't help. My parents got old, they got sick, they got cancer. You can't stop that. Your dog or your pet gets old and they get sick. You can't stop that. Your kid's having challenges in school and it's challenging you as a parent. Understandable stressors, life, money, these are real. There's also what we're calling self-created stressors that, quite frankly, are optional. What do I mean when I say a self-created stressor? Here's one. I hate myself. I hate my body. I don't like this part of my body. I don't like these hips. I don't like this leg. I don't like this weight. I'm not good enough. I'll never find love. Oh my God, if I don't change the way I look, change my shape, change the way I weigh, I'm never gonna get what I want. Or if I don't earn enough money, I'll never be okay. I think you get what I'm saying. These are not actual, true, real life. You gotta have these stressors. True it is that culture impacts us, the world impacts us, but looking in the mirror and attacking self, that's a self-created stressor. Now, as soon as we think those thoughts, once again, we literally put the body into a physiologic stress response. By the way, let's take a step back. The scientific definition of stress is any real or imagined threat and the body's response to that threat. Note the term real or imagined. Do we have liftoff here, or am I just?
No, we sadly no slides.
Okay.
Although somebody says that they're getting them in the UK.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Wow. Gosh, amazing. Okay, so any real or imagined stress and the body's response to that threat. So you could be sitting in a room right now, totally relaxed. You could think about the guy or girl that done you wrong 20 years ago, and we could literally put ourselves into a stress response, meaning the thoughts that we think, the words, the mantras you repeat to yourself, the affirmations you say, if they're unkind, then we're creating self-created stress. We are changing body chemistry. We're producing more insulin, more cortisol, and those will signal the body to store weight, store fat, not build muscle, deregulate appetite, and it will tell your digestive system not to function optimally, which means you could be eating the healthiest food in the universe, but you won't absorb all the nutrients. You actually won't get the full nutritional value of your meal. My friends, this is front page headline news that everyone should learn about nutrition and the eating psychology first thing. You know, here's another example of a self-created stressor. Going on a highly restrictive, lifeless diet that has no pleasure and doesn't work. Or constantly trying to create the perfect body. Oh, I need to lose just 5 more pounds from this one place. Woo! I've met so many people who have been living in the perfectionist mentality for years and years. It doesn't work. So I hope you're beginning to see that we have some incredibly powerful places where we can begin to do some good work when it comes to transforming our eating challenges. So let me sum up where we've been so far, my friends, and some simple things that you can do right now. Simple things you can do right now to put yourself in a relaxation response, which means the optimum state of digestion, assimilation, calorie burning, natural appetite regulation. First thing, you're going to love this because it's so simple and it's free. Breathe before you eat. I mean that. Take 5 long, slow, deep breaths before any meal, and I promise you, you will have a high probability that you can put yourself into the optimum state of nutritional metabolism. Why? Because long, slow, deep breathing happens to be the breathing pattern of the relaxation response. In other words, every emotional state has a corresponding brainwave pattern and breath pattern. And the breathing pattern of stress is infrequent, arrhythmic, and shallow. Breathing pattern of relaxation is regular, rhythmic, and deep. So when you adopt the breathing pattern of relaxation, you actually fool your body, you fool your brain, you fool your nervous system. It thinks it's relaxed, and you will literally send signals down through the spinal nerves. You will literally send signals through body chemistry to change our digestion, change our assimilation, and we can go from stress response to relaxation response. We can go from poor digestion to full digestive power and full healthy appetite regulation within less than a minute, all from breathing. And it doesn't hurt to take a few deep breaths during your meal. Next, another thing you could do right now to make a huge difference. And by the way, my friends, these might sound simple to you. They are profound. Next, number 2, slow down when you eat. I've been asking this question probably for 30 plus years of groups that I teach live. Are you a fast eater, a moderate eater, or a slow eater? Every time I've asked this question to a room, about 85% of people will raise their hands and they will identify themselves as a fast eater. Why? Because people are conditioned to eat fast. And it just so happens that the act of eating fast is a stressor to the body. We are simply not designed to eat quickly. By the way, dietitians started telling us, a good 25, 30 years ago that the brain needs about 20 minutes to realize it's full, and it's true. The nervous system, digestive system, needs time. It needs time to scan the meal. The brain and gut have to communicate to determine, is there enough micronutrients, macronutrients? It's what do I need? Once the brain determines that, oh, okay, I've gotten what I need, full, ready to stop eating, or no, I haven't gotten what I need, hungry. There's a beautiful concept from physiology called the cephalic phase digestive response. My friends, this is a fancy term that encompasses taste, pleasure, aroma, satisfaction, and the visuals of a meal. Cephalic means of the head. Science tells us that from the sum total of all the research that's been done on the cephalic phase digestive response, CPDR for short, science tells us that 40 to 60% of your metabolic power at any meal, your ability to digest, assimilate, and calorie burn that meal, comes from the head phase of digestion. Paying attention to the meal, taste, pleasure, aroma, satisfaction. So just do the math for a second. If you're missing the head phase of digestion and you're not getting taste and pleasure and aroma, you're probably metabolizing your meal at 40 to 60% less efficient. That is a stunning statistic, my friends. Bottom line, as you relax, as you slow down, as you breathe, you create a different physiology, a different chemistry. You change your digestive capacity. You change your metabolism. You change your calorie burning metabolism. You hit your natural appetite regulation in an easy way and in a natural way. That's the name of the game. Lastly, my friends, in terms of what you can do right now, learn to receive from your meals. What most people don't realize is that pleasure is a literal and scientific metabolic enhancer, and all organisms on planet Earth, once again, whether you're a single-celled organism, whether you're a lizard, whether you're a human, we are programmed, and you learn this in junior high school, to seek pleasure and avoid pain. When you're eating food, you're seeking you're avoiding the pain of hunger, and you're seeking the pleasure of eating. Now consider this: when you feel pleasure, you actually move your body into the relaxation response. When you feel pleasure, you had a rough day at work, somebody gives you a shoulder rub, you go, you relax. So essentially, pleasure, believe it or not, catalyzes the relaxation response. So when you and I feel pleasure, it moves the body into the best place to digest and assimilate and calorie burn and naturally regulate your appetite. That's incredible. Think about how many people are eating a diet, they're not paying attention, or they think, oh my God, I can't enjoy this. Let me just wolf the food down. They eat too fast. They don't get pleasure. You actually positively affect your metabolism when you, as a human being, allow yourself to experience pleasure. Now, a lot of times we're eating food, we're thinking, oh my God, I'm eating this cake, I'm eating this chocolate, I shouldn't be eating this, it's bad for me, it's got sugar, it's got dairy, it's going to make me fat, all this kind of nonsense. And what I'm saying is, if you're going to eat the cake anyway, and I mean this, you might as well enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying it and you're stressing yourself out, you now know what's happening. When you stress yourself out, eating the very food you're going to eat anyway, you actually make it worse on yourself. So the bottom line is, day in and day out, we need to learn to welcome pleasure back to the table, because it powerfully catalyzes the relaxation response, which once again catalyzes our best digestion, our best assimilation, our best day in, day out natural calorie burning, and our best appetite regulation. Okay, that's a lot. Keep hanging in there with me, my friends, because there's a lot of great information still coming here. Key number 4, how a simple thought can hold you back. Mind is very powerful, and I think this is fascinating. So yeah, we need to eat good food to be healthy, but oftentimes it's the mind that's making our choices. It's the mind that holds us back. How many times have I heard somebody say, oh yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do, I just don't do it. So thoughts are indeed powerful. And as you and I learn how to better manage the mind, meaning harness the mind, then we can make some interesting and powerful changes. First, we got to realize that the mind is oftentimes way more powerful than we think. Let me give you an example of what I mean. You've all, chances are, heard about the placebo effect. You might not know about how juicy it is, so let me explain. Placebo, by the way, is a fake, harmless, inert chemical substance. Every drug company in existence is required by law to test whatever drug they're looking at against a placebo, because on average, about 50% of the effect of any prescription drug or any over-the-counter drug is due to the placebo effect. In other words, You can give people a fake harmless inert chemical substance, a sugar pill. You could tell them it's a headache remedy, and for 50% of the people who have headaches, their headache is going to go away when you give them that sugar pill. That's the power of the mind. And again, I'm not making this up. This is well documented. It's a well-known scientific fact that we have to account for. And this drives researchers and drug companies crazy, by the way. So let me tell you why I'm excited about this. I'm going to share with you my favorite placebo study of all time. Back in the early 1980s, I believe it was 81, cancer researchers were testing a new chemotherapy. To one group of patients, they give the actual chemotherapy. To a second group of control patients, they give a placebo chemotherapy. In this case, it was a water injection. Now something fascinating happened. After a number of weeks, majority of the people who were receiving the actual chemotherapy had a very common side effect. They lost their hair. About 30% of the people who were receiving the placebo chemotherapy, the water injection, also had an interesting side effect. They lost their hair too. Did you get that? Almost a third of people receiving a water injection, a placebo, lost their hair. Why? Because they had the mental association, have cancer, go on chemotherapy, lose hair. So what I'm trying to say, my friends, is if the power of the mind is so strong that you can take a water injection, think it's going to make you lose your hair, and you do indeed lose your hair, what happens when you say, you know something, I really shouldn't be eating this, it's fattening. Or you know something, I shouldn't do this, it's not good for me. Or this is going to make me congested, or this is going to make me sick. You could say, I should eat this, this is good for me, because a placebo effect works in both directions. Now, I'm not saying you could take poison and think it won't kill you, and it won't. What I'm saying is there's a gray zone, and a powerful gray zone, where what we think and feel strongly impacts our physiology. So yes, what we eat, the specific foods you and I eat, is super important, but I'm going to say that's half the story. The other half of the story is who we are as eaters. And let's dive into that even a little bit more. I want to talk to you about something that we have really developed and detailed out here at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and it's called toxic nutritional beliefs. Toxic nutritional belief is a thought, a feeling, a belief, a concept that we hold about food or body or nutrition or life, by the way, that's actually old and outdated and inaccurate. And these toxic nutritional beliefs, I'm asserting to you, can be as toxic to the body as any junk food. Let me explain. Let's talk about 3 powerful toxic nutritional beliefs. First and foremost, here's the most common one I see. Toxic nutritional belief number 1, food is the enemy. Did you catch that? Food is the enemy. There's so many people walking around who are constantly saying to themselves, and they don't even realize it, my enemy is food. Now, I know that you might love food and get pleasure from it, but what happens is for so many people who've been dieting for years, trying to lose weight, or they overeat, or they binge eat, or they emotionally eat, or they get digestive upset, or they have health issues, we often make the conscious or unconscious determination somewhere along the line that, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, but if I eat food, then I gain weight. So food is the thing that makes me gain weight, and weight is my enemy. So therefore, food is my enemy. Or I'm overeating, and overeating means I'm eating too much food. So food must be the issue. So food must be the enemy, which is, by the way, logically insane. Now, remember how the stress response is any real or imagined threat, and the body's response to that. You know, food doesn't actually have this big set of teeth that's coming at you to attack you and eat you. Food is just a bunch of food on a plate. It's harmless. It has no power over you. But anytime the brain senses enemy, anytime your brain senses attack, it's going to start to mobilize your physiology, mobilize your biochemistry, and it goes into a stress response. So if you're walking around with a toxic nutritional belief, food is the enemy. Why? Because food is going to make me fat. And if I'm fat, nobody's going to love me, all that kind of nonsense. You're literally changing your biochemistry. You're changing your digestion. You're changing your appetite regulation. You're changing your calorie burning capacity. That is profound. So realize that the stress response is a graded response, meaning it's not an on or off. You could have mild stress, moderate stress, or extreme stress. So part of the work that we do here at the Institute, that we do in our professional training, when we train people how to be eating psychology coaches, and part of what we do in our program for the public, where people are trying to transform their relationship with food, we help people let go of their toxic nutritional beliefs through various practices and intellectual interventions. Here's another toxic nutritional belief that I just want to kind of put to the forefront, and it's this: fat in food equals fat on my body. Fat in food equals fat on my body. Why is that a toxic nutritional belief? Back in the 1960s, my friends, research started coming out that told us that fat was bad and fat in your diet was bad. And guess what? That was a half-baked scientific truth. And it makes me want to bang my head against the wall, because the scientific we threw out the baby with the bathwater. What I mean is, we looked around and we said, oh my goodness. By the way, in the 1960s, we were eating all kinds of trans fats, all kinds of margarine, poor quality fats. And we said, oh my goodness, this is causing health issues. But we forgot to take notice of this thing called EFAs, essential fatty acids. Guess why we call them EFAs, essential fats? Because they are essential to life. By the way, you've never heard of essential carbohydrates. So we've known for almost 100 years that fat is essential for life. Are there poor quality fats? Absolutely. Throw them out. Hydrogenated oils, synthetic fats, highly processed fats, high heated fats, soy oil, canola oil. Yep, canola oil, not a good oil. Any GMO related oils. That's another conversation. But the bottom line is, healthy fat in your diet will actually move you into your natural appetite, natural metabolism, and it will move you towards your natural weight. By the way, there are people who have gone low fat and they become weight loss resistant. And if they truly have weight to lose and you put them on a healthy, high fat diet, weight starts to lose. It's a stunning scientific fact, stunning scientific phenomenon, that healthy fat promotes your healthiest metabolism and your healthiest weight. So why is that a toxic nutritional belief, that fat in food equals fat on my body? Because it just ain't true. It's bad science, and it's old science, and it's incomplete science. I hope you see where I'm going with this. We, right now, are advancing the field of nutrition in this conversation, you and I. So the last powerful toxic nutritional belief I want to share with you is this: when I have the perfect body, then I'm going to be happy. Then I'm going to have everything I need. Then life is going to be great. And then I'll be the real me. That's the belief, that when I have the perfect body, it's all going to be good. Everything wonderful happens, and then I'll be the real me. Now, what happens is, there are so many people thinking, well, this isn't my real life. This isn't my real body. This is my real self, because my real self has six-pack abs, and my real self is this, and my real self is that. So I need to be doing more exercise. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that, doing the other thing. And we're not the real me now. We put the real me off into the future. We are literally affirming to ourselves that I cannot be happy now. I cannot be me now. I can only be the real me when my body looks a little bit different. And when we play that game, we set ourselves up for misery, because we're constantly waiting for a future that doesn't come. I counsel people who are 50, 60, 70, and yes, my friends, even an 80-year-old who have been dieting for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, still waiting for that time, magic number, or hit that magic place of having the perfect body and somehow I'm going to be happy. Think about it. Have you ever hit your perfect weight? Did you live happily ever after? Probably not. Okay. More to say about that, but for now, let's keep moving, because there's some more good information I want to share with you. I'm now going to talk about key number 5 of the 5 keys. I want you to start to learn to feel your way into change. What does that mean, my friends? It means that, the last key for transforming your unhealthy relationship with food is all about a lot of ways. You know, and another way to say that is to understand that we have an emotional metabolism. Emotional metabolism. Just as we have a digestive metabolism means this: you're taking food, you process it, you assimilate what you need, you poop out what you don't need. That's digestive metabolism. We also have an emotional metabolism, meaning there's emotions coming at us all day long from people, from ourselves. And it's our job to learn to regulate those emotions. So we let those emotions move through us. We metabolize them, we listen to them, we feel them, we experience them. We eventually let go of the emotions that we don't need, that are kind of poisonous to us. Self-hate, self-attack, self-rejection. That's what I'm talking about. We have to learn to understand that this is what's going on in our inner world. So we're constantly moving through emotions like love, anger, intimacy, rage, fear, hope, trust, attractions, all of it. Our emotions, as we know, drive our relationship with food. We don't always notice it. Now, the solution ain't to be an emotionless, machine-like eater. It's not what I'm saying, because food is love. It's fine to be with food and feel the love and feel the pleasure and feel all the goodness. It's also fine that sometimes, guess what, we're going to overeat and binge eat, because we're not perfect. We're human. Welcome to planet Earth. And in those moments when we become human and we ain't perfect, instead of kicking yourself when you're down, instead of heaping more guilt and more self-blame, we have to mature. You got to grow up in that moment. This is the work on self that is so key. We have to find self-love. We have to find forgiveness. We have to catch ourselves in that moment and go, oh, wow, here I am going down this road of self-attack, self-rejection. What is this experience teaching me? How can I get more curious? How can I learn to begin to regulate my emotions better? And by the way, my friends, this is not something you learn to do in a little workshop and then it's done. It's a lifelong practice, but you want to, first of all, have this on your radar. And you want to have the right tools and the right distinctions to be able to do this, because then you can feel empowered and then you can start to see good success. Success doesn't come by pushing a button, taking a pill, finding some magic diet, and all of a sudden you get better overnight. Success, I'm going to tell you, and write this down, put this on your refrigerator. Success, the kind of success that you want with your relationship with food, happens in small successes, small baby steps. I mean that. If you are willing to take the small baby steps, I promise you, you're going to get where you want to go. So it's all about letting go of, oh my God, I have to make this happen today, right now, tomorrow, and letting this be a journey. Now, very closely related to learning about our emotional metabolism is understanding that we're oftentimes using food to regulate our emotions. We're using food to regulate our emotions, meaning on a daily basis, we're using food to regulate our emotional metabolism. So if I'm having difficulty in my, difficulty at work, if I'm having difficulty with my kid, I'm going to eat food because it relaxes me and helps me feel pleasure. If my life feels empty, if I don't have what I want, I might eat some food because it helps fill me up. Sometimes my life just feels so freaking overwhelming and it's too much for me that I might choose to eat food, or I might find myself eating food because sometimes food helps us numb out. It helps us disappear. Sometimes I find that, oh my goodness, I didn't eat for the last 6 hours and I'm starving because I've been so focused on this, that, the other thing, and all of a sudden I'm eating food to make myself feel better. Bottom line, my friends, it's not bad to use food to regulate our emotions, because guess what? You take a starving person and you give them a nice meal. You've just not only regulated their physiology, you've regulated their emotions. They feel better about being alive. So I need you to hear that, in essence, emotional eating isn't a bad thing. I mean, what's the opposite of emotional eating? Unemotional eating? Ain't gonna work. So it's all about noticing how we use food to regulate our emotions and doing it in a way, learning to do it in a way that actually works for us. So let's recap the 5 keys for a moment. We talked about why it's not your fault. We talked about ways that you can start to resolve food challenges. We talked about the surprising shift, which is related to stress and relaxation. We talked about how simple thoughts can hold us back, the power of the mind. We talked about the emotional aspect of eating and how we start to feel our way into change. Let me share with you a case story, a case study that I think will really help us kind of pull this all together. And I think you're going to like this because personally, I love stories. And quite frankly, I like success stories. So this is about a woman, I'm going to call her Anne. And when I first met Anne, she was 39 years old and she was managing a small boutique clothing store in a big city. So Anne's a bright woman. She loves to learn. She reads a lot. She listens to music. Now, at that time, she'd been in a relationship for 2 years, didn't quite know where that relationship was going. So I'm just giving you some details about Anne. Anne loves to eat healthy food. She loves to cook, but she tells me she doesn't always have time and she just kind of also wants more clarity in her life. So why is Anne coming to see me? She's complaining of a 15 to 20 pound weight gain that she wasn't able to sustainably lose. So she's frustrated because she's tried to exercise it off and diet it off, and it's not working. Now, this is a big thing for her because she doesn't want a 15 or 20 pound weight gain. She's also having daily, 7 days a week, late afternoon or early evening binges. That's all of a sudden coming out of nowhere. On top of that, secondarily, she complains about poor digestion, mood swings, low energy. And again, she says she could lose 10 pounds by dieting with intense exercise, but it actually comes right back on. So the good news is Anne acknowledged that she's tired of dieting, and she's been dieting really since she's been a young teen and has never really gotten what she wants, even though she exercises regularly. And by the way, she admits that she doesn't love the way she exercises, but she does it because she's trying to maintain her weight. So interestingly enough, Anne believes that if she could just find the perfect expert or the perfect way to eat or the perfect system, she could finally control her appetite and lose weight and live her real life. Kind of fascinating to me. So let me make a few more observations about Anne that I think might be helpful. She disapproves of her body very strongly. She believes that weight loss will solve everything. She thinks her problem is with food, and she's constantly fighting her appetite. She is open to new ideas. And at the same time, she feels stuck in the same cycle of weight loss and weight gain. She does describe herself as a very fast eater. She has committed herself to eating as low fat as possible. And she seems ready, in my opinion, for something that truly works. So let's take even a deeper look. And we're going to start to do a little bit of assessing here. So when we take a deeper look and we do a little bit of assessing, what we find out is this. I look at her fast eating as causing or contributing to her digestive distress. Her low-fat diet, by the way, I'm highly suggesting and guessing is contributing to her mood swings, her low energy, and her binge eating. Why? Because some of the symptoms of fat deficiency, of clinical or subclinical fat deficiency, or mood swings, low energies, overeating, binge eating, and weight loss resistance. So on top of that, I am clearly noticing from the way she talks and the way she is conversing with me that food is indeed the enemy for her. And that the sum total of all her stressors, check it out, the sum total of all her stressors, my friends, the fast eating, the toxic nutritional belief that food is enemy, the stress of hating her body, the stress of not living her real life yet, the uncertainty about her relationship and where it's going, that's a real stress, to me, to my mind, is leading to the weight gain, weight loss resistance, and just not getting where she needs to go. Is it causing it all? Who knows? But is it definitely a factor? From my experience, I'm going to say 100% yes. So Anne is one of those people who is, constantly starving herself. The low-fat eating is causing her brain to scream hungry, because when you're on a low-fat diet, the brain is not smart enough to say, hey, you're deficient in essential fatty acids. You might be subclinically fat deficient. The brain doesn't say that. What the brain does is it scans the body, it scans metabolism, it realizes we are nutrient deficient, and it does the best it can, and it screams hungry. And when it screams hungry, even though you just ate a big meal, the brain is screaming hungry because it's noticing a nutritional deficiency. So I want you to see that a lot of people are overeating not because they're willpower weaklings. I honestly, I've never met a true overeater or binge eater that is purely about willpower. It has nothing to do with it. In this case, there's a nutritional deficiency that's driving her binge eating. Next, if Anne's looking at food as the enemy, she's constantly in a stress response, and that stress response is changing her physiology, it's changing her metabolism, it's changing her chemistry, it's changing her calorie burning capacity. It's adversely affecting her appetite regulation, and it's inhibiting her ability to be at her natural weight. So again, you add up all these stressors, and then we could see the brilliant reasons for her problems. So from that place, when you start to notice, oh, no wonder I'm overeating, I'm fat deficient, no wonder my body isn't absorbing the way it could be because I'm constantly in a stress response from all my thoughts. So Anne can actually begin to understand how she can take more responsibility, how she can begin to look at where she self-attacks, how she can begin to see why some of these challenges are happening. Because she's now armed with good information. She's now armed, quite frankly, with some good wisdom. So let me talk about some strategies that we used with Anne. Number one, having her slow down with food. Slow down with eating. Put your body into parasympathetic nervous system dominance, which is another way of saying the relaxation response, which is another way of saying optimum state for digestion, assimilation, calorie burning, natural appetite regulation, and ultimately our natural weight. Believe it or not, I had Anne include more fat in her diet, i.e. healthy fat, which means she's eating more calories, by the way. And I did what we call here at the Institute an intellectual intervention with her about her toxic nutritional belief that food is the enemy, and worked on making friends with food. We worked on letting go of dieting. Excuse me. We worked on her embracing enjoyable exercise because she was doing exercise that she didn't like. And when you constantly do exercise that you hate, guess what happens? Stress response. When you do exercise, guess what happens? Exercise that you love, what happens is we start to relax and we enjoy movement more, and we actually change our biochemistry. Now, yet another piece of the puzzle, because remember, it's not just what you eat, but it's the rest of your life. And one of the biggest stressors in her life was the uncertainty in her relationship. And I asked her to put her relationship on the line with her partner, meaning to finally ask for what she really wanted in the relationship, because her and her partner really weren't communicating, weren't truly talking about long-term and what their needs and desires were. And another way of saying that is I invited her into the conversation of, yeah, you have this toxic belief that when you have the perfect body, then you're going to be the real you. Let's look at how you can start being more of the real you right now. We made a list of those things. What would the real her look like, act like, talk like, dress like, move like? Who would she hang out with? Start being the real you now instead of waiting for some future date. So here's what happened. A bottom line from all that is, check this out, my friends. Within 1 week, her digestion had dramatically improved. Within 1 month, her intense mood swings were gone. Her binge eating went from daily to once per week at most. By the way, that was huge for her. Absolutely huge. Because she thought she was a willpower weakling who was out of control. Interestingly enough, she started loving exercise more. Duh, because she wasn't doing exercise that she hated. Interestingly enough, she was enjoying food more. Why? Because I asked her to. She's not looking so much as food as the enemy. She's eating more healthy fat, which honestly makes you feel good and feel better, because healthy fat is registered as a deep pleasure in the body. Fascinatingly enough, she had a breakthrough with their boyfriend and they decide to get engaged. So she's in real dialogue. She's taking responsibility for her life. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a woman who literally, within a couple months, she is looking more radiant. Why? For all the reasons. If you get better digestion, you're going to be more radiant. When you let go of some intense mood swings, you're going to be more radiant. When you're not binge eating every day, you're going to be more radiant. When you enjoy moving, you're more radiant. When you're enjoying food and not hating it, you're radiant. And when you've been stuck in a relationship and start to have some headway, life changes. Now, she was trying to lose 15 to 20 pounds. She had it somewhere between 3 and 4 months, she had lost 12 pounds. Truth is, that's all she needed. She felt satisfied. And on top of that, I didn't even ask her to do this, but she owned that her previous goals weren't quite realistic. The 20 pounds she was going for just wasn't a realistic goal for her. People do that a lot, by the way. We come up with these numbers. I got to lose 20 pounds. Like, where the heck does that number come from? So what does this mean for you? What I'd love for you to think about is, what are the breakthroughs that you want? What are some of the actions, maybe based on what you've learned today in this conversation, in this workshop, what are some of the actions that you can actually start doing for yourself? So if nothing else, if you never talk to us again, interact with us again, I would love for you to think about, if this is important for you, what can you actually begin to do based on what you learned today? By the way, I have to tell you, I operate my life by the one thing rule. If I go to a workshop, if I go to a lecture, I don't want to waste my time. Time is too valuable. I'm an old dude now, and my time counts. So if I take a workshop, read a book, pay for an online course, I'm looking to do at least one thing. And if I can do at least one thing, then that's a good thing. Anne, who we just talked about, she had to make a decision. She had to choose that she wanted to change, that she wanted to transform, that she wanted to make an investment in herself that can make a difference. She needed to take some next steps. She needed to do something different, and I think we all need to do that in any part of life when we get stuck. The missing ingredient that I've seen over the years with clients, I've witnessed profound changes that happen when we finally liberate ourselves, when we finally free ourselves from the body image challenges and the tough relationship with food. When we shift that, we start to become the person we're meant to be. That's what's important to hear. Quite honestly, my goal in all this work, because I've been doing this work forever, it's been my life. It's crazy, literally. Since I've been an infant, this has been my focus, our relationship with food, body, and health. And what I've noticed is, as I became healthier, as I had a better relationship with food, I actually became me more. I started stepping into my power as a human. I started becoming more creative, more effective, more interesting to myself, more interesting to other people. My gifts started to emerge. That's the name of the game, is being the best possible version of you. That is the name of the game. Of course, the name of the game is being our healthiest, having a healthy relationship with food. But the point of that is to point us in the direction of being the best version of us. That's what I'm shooting for here. So if you're someone who struggles with any of these conditions that we've been talking about, again, weight worry and body image stuff and overeating and binge eating and emotional eating and endless dieting and low mood and digestion, then so much of what we've been covering can help. And even more to the point, I would love to share with you about our program, called Transform Your Relationship with Food. So this is the part where I'm going to get all excited about, and I'm going to look to really urge you to consider this program, because I created it. I love it. So many people who have taken it consider it a very important and well-loved and necessary aspect of their journey with food. And essentially, Transform your relationship with food. This is an online program that's designed to help you take a big leap forward when it comes to food, body, and health. And it's an 8-week program that consists of videos, audios, and handouts. You're going to hear me and you're going to see me. And I'm going to be doing my best to hit home all the key pieces that is going to help you push the fast forward button on transformation. You're going to hear a lot of introspective exercises, practices, powerful strategies. We have a great online forum that's staffed by our certified eating psychology coaches. And the private online community, by the way, is really great. So, while you're in the program, if questions come up for you, you're feeling confused, you need more clarification, you have an amazing network of people to reach out to get support from. I got to brag for a moment. One of the main pieces of feedback that we get is how amazing our customer support is, how our student support is. We pride ourselves on that because we want to help people. At the end of the day, I want to feel good about myself in a very selfish way that I've helped people. That's what helps me sleep better at night. And it's been really beautiful to watch over the years how, even though this is an online program and it blows my mind, so many people find transformation in this way. So many people form friendships for life or connections for life. My friends, sometimes it's just not easy to do things on our own. That's why, I like to say the universe, God invented other people. It's not just me on this planet. It's not just you on this planet. There's a lot of other people because it seems like we need each other. So, who this program is for. Program is for anybody who can't stop obsessing about food. It's if you suffer with overeating at night, or you turn to food when you feel uncomfortable or sad or lonely, or if you've lost weight and gained it back time and again. If you're pushing yourself with exercise and you can't get the results that you want or that you're expecting. If you have low-level health complaints like digestion and fatigue, challenges that we've talked about, Transform Your Relationship with Food will give you tools, tricks, techniques, distinctions that will help you dive into your unique food story, because each one of us has a unique food story. And that's the name of the game here, to understand, what are the general strategies that we all could use and share and have in common, but at the same time, what is it for me and my story that will help me? So in the 8 weeks, you're going to learn so much, my friends. You're going to get enough information, but I'm going to tell you something. It's not fluffy information. And what I mean by fluffy information, very quickly, I come from the generation when I remember record albums, those big plastic discs that you played on a record player. And you'd hear a song on the radio and you want to buy that song, but you have to buy the whole album. And on the album, there's usually 1 or 2 good songs and the rest is all nonsense fluff. And I would wait for a band to come out with their greatest hits album. So what I want to say is Transform Your Relationship with Food is an online program that's all about greatest hits. So you're going to learn about foundational concepts to create a new relationship with food. You're going to learn about how to harness the metabolic power of your brain. You're going to learn key lessons from dynamic eating psychology. That's the field that I've originated, that I've invented. Eating psychology, by the way, my friends, is not about eating disorders. That's like saying health is about people with, extreme cancer. Eating disorders is the extreme state of having a problematic relationship with food. A few percent of the population, 2, 3, 4, 5%, whoever statistics you look at, might have an eating disorder. The other 95, 6, 7% of us, we all have a relationship with food. We all have eating challenges. We might not be classified as having a clinical eating disorder, but we have challenges that we need to work on. And that's what I'm talking about here. And those challenges, remember, are here to help us grow. And when we learn how to use those challenges as a great teacher, when we learn how to dive into the lessons we're supposed to learn and we start to learn them, that's when healing and transformation begins to happen. So quite frankly, one of the things that we love hearing from our students and grads is that after this program, they have a new way to move forward. Our goal is to have everybody heal their relationship with food and feel more empowered in their body so they feel more empowered in their life. So if you have been going around in circles, my friends, it's time to reinvent how you do things. So let's talk about this. Let me mention also that you're going to learn good nutrition, but you're going to learn different aspects of nutrition in this training. You're going to learn about mind-body nutrition. You're going to learn about the kinds of nutrition that's very targeted that could make a difference. You can take this program if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, if you eat paleo, it doesn't matter. We are diet agnostic. So I welcome anyone to the table, no matter what their diet is, no matter what their choice is. Yes, there are certain things that are going to work better for the body according to, the sum total of what we learned in nutritional science. You're going to hear about that. But so yes, you're going to learn good nutrition, but a whole different kind of nutrition. You're going to learn about the psychobiology of pleasure and desire and appetite and how to work with that in a whole different way. You're going to learn more about how to work with nutrition and emotions, and that's going to be looking at eating rhythm, time of day that you eat, different techniques to master your relationship with food. We're going to look at how metabolism is impacted by so much more than what you eat, but by who we are, how it's impacted by your relationship to life, your relationship with other people, the thoughts that you're thinking. And we're going to also talk about in transforming your relationship with food, you're going to learn all about how to create a completely new nutritional story. And that's honestly crucial for long-term success, because it's all about re-envisioning and reimagining what's possible for you. And it's pretty much, I think, an amazing journey. So I hope you're beginning to see some of the possibilities and what they could be for you. Once again, the program, as I mentioned, it's 8 weeks long. So every single week, you're going to get a different module, which again has the audios, the handouts. You're going to get access to the online community right away. Most importantly, you're going to be exposed to the kind of wisdom that can help you take a big leap forward with food, body, and health. So my friends, let's talk about the details, and we're just going to take a few more minutes, and here's how I'm going to make you make a special offer for you. That's for people who have been tuning into this workshop. Usually when I've seen clients in the past, when I stopped seeing clients, I was charging up to $1,000 an hour for my work. I don't do that anymore. I don't see clients anymore in that way. And these days, we put all of our energy into our professional training that we offer at the Institute and to this program, Transform Your Relationship with Food, because that's our way of reaching as many people as we can. So for today's investment, you can get over 70% off for the next 48 hours. So normally for this 8-week program, Transform Your Relationship with Food, the price is $695. But again, for the next 48 hours, because you came onto this free workshop and you tuned in, you can purchase it for 70% off. So again, that's 70% off for the next 48 hours. So it gives you a little bit of time to decide if you need more time or you want to jump in right now, right below this video that you're watching. There's a button that says, yes, I want to jump in, and that will take you to a page that actually gives you all the details of the programs. So you could see it again. It's all in one place. If you're like me and you're more of a visual person and you want to actually read out all the details of the program, you can do that there. And then you can go ahead and check the payment option that works best for you. So what you need to know is that we indeed have 3 different payment options. So if you want to get to 70% off, all you need to do is enter the promo code TRANSFORM, and then you select either pay in full or a 2-payment plan or a 3-payment plan. So by the way, the pay in full is $197. The 2-payment plan is $109, 2 payments of $109. 3-payment plan is 3 payments of $79. Now, as soon as you choose the payment plan that you want, it takes you very simply to an order form. And on that order form, all you need to do is enter your information. Now, make sure to use the email that you want all of your program materials delivered to. That's the one thing you got to make sure of, that the email that you use when you enter it is the email that we can send all the program materials to, because we're going to communicate with you via email. So, and you're also going to fill out your credit card information, and a little bit of personal information, name, etc. And then when you press submit, you will immediately get access to week number 1. Boom, there it is. So again, if this was inspiring to you and you want more, then this is a great next step, and you're going to get access to week number 1 literally as soon as you pay. You can get started with the program right then and there. Oh my goodness, you know, I've got so many testimonials from this training. I just want to share with you a couple. A woman named Jessica said, "I've struggled with various eating disorders, body image, shame, and food issues since I was 16 years old. Over the past 28 years, I've worked with countless therapists and programs searching for support. Transform Your Relationship with Food was by far the most personal, invigorating, positively challenging, and thought-provoking program I've ever participated in. I will carry what I learned from this program with me for the rest of my life, and I look forward to using these tools to help others in my own work as a clinician. Thank you to Mark and the Institute." Okay, I'm not going to cry now, but I got a big smile on my face, and that's enough to help me feel good about myself and help me sleep well at night. Let me read you another testimonial that also touched me. Ashley says, "Transform Your Relationship with Food has been a life-changing experience for me. I've struggled with my relationship with food for years, and nothing has ever come close to uncovering some of the underlying issues and misbeliefs like this program has. You can't find a program like this out there. This is a completely one-of-a-kind, invaluable program. It's chock full of simple, profound exercises and information that are accessible to the modern busy person. As a health coach myself, the information has given me a new perspective into my own eating issues and an awareness that I know will benefit my clients. I cannot thank everybody enough at the Institute for creating this program. Everyone who is an eater needs to enroll in this program." I love that. My friends, I can keep on going, but once again, I want to say, again, for 48 hours, you can get 70% off. The regular cost is $695, but for the next 48 hours, you give it a little thought. I think you should jump in now if you're thinking about it, if you know you're there. And again, right below this video, there's a button that says, "Yes, I want to jump in." It takes you to the page that gives you all the details of the program in one central location. And you're going to just choose the payment plan that works for you, the full pay, the 2-pay, the 3-pay. Of course, the full pay is a simple full-on $197, 70% off. And once you click whichever payment plan you want, make sure you enter the email that you want us to send your program information to. You fill out your credit card information, and from there you get access to week 1 right away. So let me finish by saying this. This program is not just about, "Hey dudes, eat this, don't eat that." Yeah, we're going to give you strategies and tools because we all need to have the practical information to implement transformation on our journey. But I want to tell you more to the point, you're going to learn a new way of thinking. I've heard countless times from people who take this program, Transform Your Relationship with Food, and our certification training, that they were thinking this was only going to help them with their relationship with food or whatever, but it completely changed many areas of their life because it's all connected. So food and life is all connected. And you know, interestingly enough, a lot of people come to this program as a last resort when they've tried everything else. So I hope if that describes you and you're feeling stuck or you're feeling tired of all the nonsense, that you'll consider this program. So I know that there are some questions in our queue that I would love to get to. So let me do that right now, my friends. And yeah, if you can make that bigger, Miss Angela. So I'm going to answer some of our questions, and I'm just loading them up so I can see that. Okay. Somebody says, I feel as though if I let go of stress, I will have no motivation. For example, if I'm not shooting for a perfect body, I'm left without much motivation to do an amazing 60-minute workout. Aiming for perfection is what gets me to the gym in the first place. If I decide that I'm okay, then for some reason, I won't ever get off the couch. Okay, so for the person asking this question, I'm going to say simply this. Are you happy where you want to be? Is that quest for perfection and shooting for the perfect body, has it gotten you where you want to be? Has it gotten you where you want to go? Because if it has, then good for you. And honestly, I don't want to change anything you do. And I really mean that. I really, really mean that. This program for you is only, technically speaking, if you have a complaint. If you have a complaint, if you ain't where you want to be, if you haven't gotten where you want to go, then I'm saying you should be considering this program. But what I'm saying to the person asking this question, that's a great question, by the way. Now, I just want to say one more piece about your question, maybe two pieces, because it's so good, it's so juicy. Motivation, a lot of people are highly motivated. And usually when people say I'm highly motivated, what they're really saying is I'm highly stressed and I'm pushing myself and I'm pushing myself. And when we get motivated, we tend to see our motivation wax and wane. What you will learn in this program, Transform Your Relationship with Food, is how to be more inspired about what you do. Inspiration is different from motivation. Inspiration, you don't have to push yourself. Inspiration is an endless force. It's an endless power, and it can take us the distance. It will be hard to motivate yourself from now until the rest of your life, but think of inspired people that you know who are inspired about music. They're inspired about dance. They're inspired about gardening. They're inspired about food. That inspiration lasts a lifetime. So this is about you learning how to be inspired, not shooting for a goal that pumps up your stress chemistry. But again, if it hasn't gotten you where you want to go, then your strategy, quite frankly, ain't working for you. So that's the only reason to change. So somebody asks, is that why some people tend to lose weight when they're in love? They're experiencing pleasure. Bingo. A lot of people, when they're in love, they're experiencing pleasure. You know, things come together. And a lot of people also, when they're experiencing love, they want to make sure that they really regulate their appetite because they don't want to lose their love. And they think, wow, you know, if I gain a pound, that's going to mess up my love. But pleasure chemistry, believe it or not, is unbelievably powerful. Think of relaxation chemistry, because when you are in love, one of the things that's happening is you're in a deep relaxation response. There's a part of our psyche and soul that just takes a big, deep breath. And deep level relaxation is extremely healing for the body. Love heals. So yeah, you can get the love, more love into the equation any way you can. That cannot help but help your health or your metabolism or your appetite or your weight or anything in life, quite frankly. Okay. Somebody's asking, what do you think about regular fasting? I think regular fasting is a beautiful strategy, and it's a great thing to experiment with. You'll hear in Transform Your Relationship with Food that I am all about nutritional exploration, nutritional curiosity. What a great question. Let me try intermittent fasting, regular fasting, and see what happens. How does it affect me? How does it affect my body? For some people, it's a strategy that they find works for them. For other people, it doesn't. So how I feel about it is if it works for you, hallelujah, and it works for a lot of people. Somebody's asking, if there is no diet, do you recommend calorie counting to make sure we don't overeat? Beautiful question. In this training, I highly recommend that you say goodbye to calorie counting for approximately ever. You will see no animal in nature. Every animal in nature has the exact weight it should have. They don't get there by calorie counting. It was only since perhaps the 1950s that humans started worrying about calories. Calorie counting has not impacted the challenges that people have around food, body, and weight. It hasn't made a single dent. It does absolutely nothing. More to the point, and I'm not going to go too deeply into this now, I'm going to simply make an assertion, and I want you to maybe do a little bit of research on it on your own if it interests you. And I go into this very deeply in our professional training, because our professionals need to be able to explain this to our clients. But the body is not a simple input-output calorie-burning machine. That's an old, ancient, outdated nutritional concept. Calories in, calories out. Remember, you've learned in this conversation, in this workshop, that stress can impact your metabolism. Fast eating can impact your metabolism. An imbalanced macronutrient profile, meaning fat deficiency is what we talked about, can impact your calorie burning. A person can be eating 2,000 calories a day of sugar, and they will, chances are, gain weight. You can then take that same person and put them on 2,000 calories, that's 40% fat and 40% protein and 20% carbohydrate or sugar, and they're going to lose weight. So what I'm saying is there are other factors than simple calories in, calories out that are impacting weight. So let go of calories. And my friends, I am going to say thank you for asking questions. I know there are some questions that I will not be able to get to now simply because of the time, but I do want to say if those questions are important to you, feel free to email us at info@psychologyofeating.com, and we'll be happy to talk to you. And if you have any questions about this program, email us again at info@psychologyofeating.com. We're going to get back to you right away because I take this very seriously. Even though we're deeply discounting this program for you, I really want you to get your money's worth. I really want you to be a satisfied customer. I want to sleep well at night knowing that I'm doing a good job. That's what's motivating me here. So, my friends, I really thank you so much for your time and your attention and your energy. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you making it to the end. We are committed here at the Institute to deliver programs that really make a difference and that really embrace all of who we are as eaters, not just nutrition, but I mean all of it, body, mind, heart, and soul. And next step is yours. Feel free to reach out to us. I absolutely hope to meet you in the program and in the training. You take care, my friends.